I meet all kinds of people who don't enjoy what they do. They simply go through their lives getting on with it. But I also meet people who love what they do and couldn't imagine doing anything else. If you said to them, don't do this anymore, they'd wonder what you were talking about. Because it isn't what they do, it's who they are. And it's not true of enough people.
Let's suppose, I do this often in vocational guidance of students. They come to me and say, well, we're getting out of college and we haven't the faintest idea what we want to do. So I always ask the question, what would you like to do if money were no object? How would you really enjoy spending your life? When we finally got down to something which the individual says he really wants to do, I will say to him, you do that. Forget the money. Because if you say that getting the money is the most important thing, you will spend your life completely wasting your time. You'll be doing things you don't like doing in order to go on living, that is, to go on doing things you don't like doing. Better to have a short life that is full of what you like doing than a long life spent in a miserable way.
Don't you ever get annoyed, irritated, sad, anything negative?
No, I accept what is. And that's why life has become so simple.
Well, if somebody cuts you off in your car?
It's fine. It's like a sudden gust of wind. I don't personalize a gust of wind. It's simply what is.
And you're able to enjoy every moment?
Yes. I accept what is. I accept what is.
Yes. There is a world out there, and even if you decide you don't want to meet it, it's still going to hit you right in the face. Believe me. So, best you start thinking about the world now and what it means to you. What does the world mean to you?
Ask the questions in life that really matter, to get people thinking about what really matters in their lives. And the responses that I get from people just regarding that show let me know that I'm on the right track, I'm moving in the right direction. And so I'm not afraid, because I know that all of us have limited time here. But the real question is, who are you and what do you want to do with it?
There was a moment I used to blame everything and everyone for all the pain and suffering and vile things that happened to me that I saw. I didn't get no answers because I was asking the wrong questions. You have to ask the right question. What? Has anything you've done made your life better?
So if you want to change your life, my friends, you got to change your physiology and you got to change your focus.
The moment is here. Make sure something tonight ain't taking you away from this moment, man. Because that's all we got. That's what y'all don't realize most of the time. We don't get this again. We don't get this again. The clock runs too fast. That's why we got to savor these moments. Because they right now. I couldn't understand that when I was 24 and 25. That's why God had to incarcerate me, so I could see how great my blessing was that he had for me.
It's just a ride. We can change it anytime we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. A choice right now. Between fear and love. Between fear and love.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life, when I was 20. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle. And don't settle.
Then I went, dude, I gotta be honest with you. You fucked me up a little bit. I said, that song and your jokes were so awe-inspiring to me. And I went home and I started writing. I went home and started writing because after I heard that song and after I heard those fucking jokes you were coming to, those goddamn your jokes, this was I don't know how many years ago, they were so fucking well formed. You were such a tidal wave. It was like an example for the first time where I saw an artist just peak, come together and just put out, the power you were putting out was so retarded that it was changing the whole fucking room. And I remember going, I gotta taste some of that. I gotta have some of that. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I get that still.
That's what you need, man.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that in your life, you gotta find it.
Yep.
Either surround yourself with friends who do it, go to TED.com, do whatever you have to do, man. Find it. It's out there. And the beautiful thing about the technology, and this is for the young people, is that you can spend your time listening to music and reading about what Lady Gaga wore to the gym, or you can fucking open your mind to a whole world out there.
But if you talk about something like it already happened, it changes everything because your mind stores it as a past event, so it sees it as fact. There was a time where I was going to an audition and I was in my head a lot, and every time I had gone to an audition for a long time, I kept getting in my head and worrying about it. And then one day I went into the audition, but before I did it, I talked about the audition as if it already had happened. So I started saying to my friend, before I went into the audition, I started saying, do you remember when I went into that audition and I just nailed it? Like, I don't know what happened, but I got into a zone and I started feeling so good and everything. And as I started talking that way, my mind started seeing it as totally possible and feeling really good. And all of a sudden the stress started to go away that I had had for years.
I'll tell you what now, people don't give you love when you're hurting yourself. It's more out of obligation. They go, oh my God. In their head they're thinking, why can't you get your shit together, man? Why do you keep doing this to yourself? Because I don't want to walk past and go, oh, I guess I should probably help them, Obligation. Look after yourself, and if you want to get love. Give what you want to receive, and give it unconditionally. Don't be attached to receiving everything, but that's just how it works. The universe works that way. You'll get what you give.
Because you're so worried about feeding them, you're not going to ask questions. Why are we paying 45% taxes? Why are we spending billions of dollars on nuclear programs when we could use that money to all have better lives? You're not going to ask that question. You're too fucking busy feeding yourself and feeding your kids. You're not going to ask questions. You're just going to work. Oh shit, I need to work 10 hours a day now just to eat. Oh, I need to work 12 hours a day. Well, you're so busy working. You're not going to ask the question, hey, wait a minute, we were all born here human beings. We had food and shelter and rent and sun and food growing in the ground. When we were born, 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, we had everything for free. Why are we working 10, 12 hours a day now just to be able to live? You won't ask that question. You're too busy trying to survive.
Failure is an idea that humans created. If I use the word failure, I say, well, you want to fail as many times as you can because you'll get lessons and you'll learn from them. If when you fail, you say, what did I just learn? So when I realized that, and I started looking for the lessons, I realized that I was getting all of this stuff that was a bargain. And that in retrospect, I, and essentially every person that I've ever talked to who's had spectacular failures and blown lots of money on things in time, when you really get down to it, they say, it was a cheap lesson. And I'm glad I learned it then, because if I hadn't learned it then, I would have learned it later and it would have cost me 10 times as much.
Yep. You're born into a family that you sometimes don't relate to, but when you meet people you identify with, you share values with, then they become an extended family. And I know more of what it means to be an extended family because I truly look at all these people that I've met here as my family more so than what I've been born into.
Modern psychology has a word that is probably used more than any other word in psychology. It is the word maladjusted. There are some things in our society and some things in our world which I'm proud to be maladjusted. And I call upon all men of goodwill to be maladjusted to these things until the good society is realized.
As long as there's momentum, as long as you're getting up every single day and moving towards your particular ideal, your worthy ideal, you are winning. It is success. It's not necessarily having all the eggs lined up, having everything perfect and clean, having everything set properly and making sure that the stars are aligned. It's momentum. As long as you get up every single day and work, you will be a success.